If you sit in failure for too long, you will never come out of it. So the first part of my success was learning how to fail properly. You have no fucking idea how great you really are, because you are using such minimal of what you have. It became a way of living. So how I do every day is how I do every day. It's a discipline, it's a regimen, it was a choice I made. And the choice I made was, what are you willing to sacrifice and what are you willing to give up to find every bit of who you are as a human being? And I was willing to give up everything to do that. But when you put that practice in, every day you lace them up, and I don't mean run, it's just a metaphor for life. When you lace them motherfuckers up every day, pretty soon you win. Pretty soon you'll fucking win. If you have the courage and the heart and the dedication and the mindset about everybody can go fuck themselves, the heck it's gonna fucking suck. And that's what I realized. That's what I realized. Life, that's why I wanted to come on here today. I didn't want to come on here and talk about no fucking passion and purpose and how to get the fuck out of bed and how to hit a fucking alarm clock and all this catchphrase bullshit. Because that wasn't how I lived. That wasn't how I lived. I woke up like every human being does and goes, fuck, man, I'm a fucking piece of shit today. How the hell is this gonna work out for me? And you fight that. And you fight that. You don't override it. There's no override button. It's the conversation in your fucking, in your head. So how do you do that? We don't have enough of these conversations about the real conversation that every human being is having. And they have no idea how to get out of it, but they do. It's that shit right there, man. You gotta build your will. Most people are missing something because they don't know who they are. They never examine themselves. They've never done this experiment on themselves. The lab rat, we're all lab rats, but you're also the scientist. You create your own self. Most people are missing something because there's so much trapped in there. I don't even want to say potential. I think that's word used out too much too. There's so much in you that God or wherever the hell you believe in, or if you're an atheist, in you that you have not unlocked, that you walk around with this gorgeous wife or great husband and all this money, you're like, God, I feel like I'm missing something. Yeah, because it's about 75% of you is still fucking in there. Still chained up because you just didn't want to find your willpower. Didn't want to find your soul, your will, your heart, your determination, your guts, your courage. And what that looks like, it looks scary. Like your little scary lab I went in. Scary. To wake up every day and say, I'm stupid, but I want to figure out a way to be smarter. Versus saying, man, I just can't do that. So you limit this box. So your box becomes so small of things you can do. My box wasn't even a box. It was a fucking little pinhole. And then through examining myself, getting some willpower, some courage, it became bigger than this table. But that's what we all do. That's why I wanted to come here today and talk to you about real shit. Why most people don't want to do that, build that willpower, is because it is scary. It unlocks a whole bunch of things about who you are and who you're not. And a lot of people don't want to go down that journey to discover who they are and who they're not. Because it's not a pretty journey. I mean, I've gone down it. It's not like I went down it once. I go down it all the time. And when you unlock that, and you can't just turn it off. Like people say, hey, well, how come you haven't retired yet? I built all this willpower. Do you think it's gonna let me just retire because my knees hurt? It's telling me every morning, I wake up like, man, my knees hurt, my legs hurt, my body hurts, but you can still run. So why aren't you running? If you can still run, there'll be a time when you can't lace them up anymore, but you can still run. So I still run. When the time comes I can't run, the body will say, you just can't run. But if I can still do something, that willpower that I have created, it makes me do it every fucking day. And that's what they don't get. What builds a human being is you start with the small building blocks. And before you know it, man, you become something that it doesn't even make sense to most people because it's just who you are now. That's why I can still run at 50 at 49 with broke down knees and broke down body. Because my body knows you still can. Therefore, I do. Second you stop, the willpower is gone. Do you know how people connect with my book so well? For some reason, God put me in almost every fucked up situation on the planet Earth. So when I talk to people, it's not sugar-coated, because I'm not saying it from I was 175 pounds my whole life. I don't say much to those people. Maybe you're a piece of shit. Maybe you want to be nobody. Maybe you're happy exactly where you are in life, because obviously you are. Maybe you don't have the determination to be somebody better than who you are. And if you want to live with that, I'll support you in that. If you're good with being who you are, and every day you wake up and every day you smell like shit because you can't wash your body well, and your skin's messed up because your health's so bad, and you can't put your clothes on right, you need help with that. You need help, like when I was doing, I need help wiping my ass. That makes you feel good? Nothing I can say to you. If every day you wake up with this, see, people are haunted, but they obviously like horror films because they keep watching the same fucking movie. I don't like horror films. A lot of people like horror films. So I don't say much to them. I say exactly what I said to you, right there. Because I was once you. I didn't like horror films, so I changed it. Some people are just, they become, like you said, it gets real small when you're lazy and you're fat. Your will is so small that they don't have any, and you can't give it to them. There has to be something. This is what I'm talking about now, because this isn't a hack. This has to be in you. Something in you has to wake up. And usually the only person that can wake it up is you. Sometimes you can read a David Goggins book, because I was all this shit and then a lot more of fucked up. But if you don't have a little flame, just barely, you're done. I can't light it for you. And that's the harsh reality of this life that I want to get across so fucking bad. You can watch me, you can watch you can watch fucking Rogan and Cameron Haynes, all these motherfuckers. You can go to Tony Robbins's fucking bullshit, do all this shit. You can do all this shit. If you could keep going back and keep spending money and spending money and spending money with no results, you can wonder, wow, maybe let me go try out David Goggins. He ain't gonna fucking help you. You have to explore, examine the insides of yourself. And what do you really want out of life? Your friend and a lot of people out here just don't fucking want it. So guess what? Have fun with your life. Go from 3 to 350 to 400 to 450 to 500, because you don't want it. And that's the harsh reality. I can't give you shit. You can't give them shit. I can give you ideas. At the end of the day, when I was losing the weight, I had to miserably wake up every morning in the cold, because it was Indiana, November when it started. I was miserable. This is your new life. Take it or leave it. There's no happiness about it. There's no peace behind it. It sucks. It just fucking sucks. And that's the one thing, if I could teach anybody anything, it just fucking sucks. And it's going to continue to suck. And then one day you get to a special point.
David Goggins.
It might get a little bit.
What's good, everybody?
Wait, you have to lose, my friend? Sorry. It's going to suck.
I once heard a quote. It was, the problem with the average person is their familiarity with the word impossible. They know all the things that they can't do. The average person's familiarity with, the things they can't do. Most people are inside that box. Like he said, inside that box, you have that box that you limit yourself in. If you heard that, he was saying, you have that box that you live in. Most people are using maybe only 70, or not even using 75% of their potential. So if you ever feel like there's something missing, he said it right there. He said it right there. If you ever feel like there's something missing, you're probably not using the most of yourself. Yo, I was pretty on point last night. Whenever I streamed last, I told you guys gold. Last night's a good lesson because gold was in a stage. You know, it was in a stage last night where it's like, okay, you want the bigger pullback, but it might not give you the bigger pullback. I caught a move on gold, got out. It went up a good amount, and then man, I got out and the thing just kept going up, so I didn't really catch another setup after. Like, this ended up pushing up. I talked about this for a while last night. I know we broke down gold. I know we talked about two things last night, like, you know, maybe if there could be a bigger pullback. That didn't happen. And I always talk about this. It's like sometimes one thing or another. Like, you have to sometimes be prepared for like what's in front of you. Like, this is what we talked about last night, and it's like most times you could be in a situation where the market has like rallied and it's higher up, and you want the market to come down, right, for a buy. And it can get tricky where if you take a trade up here expecting continuation and you lose, the market goes down, you lose, that's maybe where things can get tricky. We often run into scenarios like this where there's a market condition, and you look at a day like yesterday, how gold broke out. Demand, that's called demand, when there's that type of demand. And I was describing this yesterday. It can make those continuation patterns. Like, it doesn't always do the bigger pullbacks gold when there is like a sense of demand in the market. So there was like two things we were talking about last night, and I was saying, like, with where we are right now, with how price looks, it's one thing to look at potential continuation. Last night, we were over here yet, and not even last night when the market opened, talking about this. It made that move, and I was done. I was like, all right, it's maybe gonna reverse. You know, I don't want to chase it, and it just kept going up hundreds and hundreds of pips more. But we were here last night, and this is like something to maybe for some, because like some of you guys maybe have never maybe used to these types of experiences. Continuation. Gold. 2025. Like, we were on gold all 2025. Like, anybody who followed me from like the beginning of 2025 up until this point, we were on gold a lot. So we've seen times like this where something kicks in, you know. So I could see in the chat a lot of you guys. So FOMC week. We gotta talk about one thing. It was FOMC week. So I talked about this at the beginning of the week, how I was gonna treat it like a slow week. FOMC week, I could see in some of the chats throughout the week, like in the Discord, some people were complaining about price action this week. I could see that was a common theme throughout some days this week. Slow. You know, what's up with this price action? What's price action doing? That was a common theme. And when you're looking at the market like that, you're blaming the market maybe for situations. Okay, so one thing we could talk about a week like this is FOMC week, and I talked about how in June. I remember in June, I had like a high expectancy for what the market was going to do on that FOMC. And the market didn't deliver that expectancy. So on like a FOMC week, like it could be good to trim down your expectancy of some things, or even just in the beginning of the week, because it perfectly makes sense how the market moved this week, looking at it afterwards and throughout the week. I had some trades this week that if I just held, it would have been like a crazy week. But I had a decent week. It was an alright week. It wasn't like as big of a week as it could have been, because I was on the right side of. I was only looking for buys this week. Rate cuts were coming, and then we had like the news like going on this week too. I was only looking for buys this week, but you could see like 4,200, 4,195. I had honestly some lower entries that if I just held for the days would have just played out nice. Dropped the chart last night. We didn't get that pullback, but anybody who was live on stream with me yesterday, we broke something else down. It was easier to break down live. And sometimes you kind of just got to take the chart for what it is. Like if you see a pattern, like gold, when there's like demand for gold, it can make holding patterns. Like this is like a holding pattern. Sometimes you got to just like take kind of like what it is, like what you see, and not overthink it. Be prepared for like what else the market could do, but that's gold for you. Like we'll probably see more of those types of patterns in 2026. So this thing, like, going into London hours, started pushing up. New York reversed. So once it like made this move up, I was done. Maybe a different type of setup. Not every trader is used to. Think of it like a holding pattern. Or like a flag pattern, continuation pattern, rectangle pattern. Now, you have to, if you had a bad week, or if you had frustration through this week, you gotta not blame the market. You gotta think about the week. It was also FOMC week. I like to take FOMC week slow, especially in the beginning. Like think about if you had like, it's kind of like what the market's done the last few FOMCs. We'll go back and I'll show you, but like being super bullish in the beginning of the week, it wasn't bad, right? If you were looking for buys in the beginning of the week, if you had like a really high expectancy for that in the beginning of the week, it did deliver buys. But the trend really started after FOMC, more so. So I mean, the markets are gonna be like that. The markets are gonna have behaviors like that, you don't want to just like look at the market like, oh, the market's crazy, the market's weird. If anything, look at FOMC happens 8 times per year. Be more mindful of the week, of how you trade maybe. In those times, your patience. Because you can still find trades. You don't have to rush the market. You don't have to overthink the market. Example would be pretty much like the best trade this week was this one. Now this was after FOMC. So, I mean, you could see like FOMC was here. I mean, the market still delivered a fair good amount of movement afterwards, right? So the beginning of the week was, we could say, slower. Because like the market, when it's a major week like this, the market's just really anticipating that news to come in, right? We often talk about this. The market's waiting for that news to digest, basically, and then you have your press conference, and the things that were said on this one were like not good for the market. Rates went lower. A trend came afterwards too, and we caught buys here. Like we were buying here the day like afterwards. So you can like even still see afterwards like the market completely retraced the FOMC move. That's the trade. I went over this trade live on stream. Anybody who was on that stream, it was kind of late the other night, but I went over it live, the trade live and everything. That was after FOMC. Look, so like even after the event, like you can still position yourself potentially for a move or two. It doesn't have to be a week where you're taking a bunch of trades. You could, because yeah, the market in the beginning was pretty slow, and then after that trend starts. If you go back to the live session I did, where if anybody goes back to that session, it was a few nights ago. Was it this session? No. Yeah, I was here. Broke down that chart. Like that chart, we broke it down to the T on that session. And there was a good like trend shift. We were at a good point of like a trend shift. Like if you go on that session, there's a lot to learn. I'm trying to get the screenshot there. I was after FOMC, like after like hours later, like this was going into London session. So like this is where I saw, that trend shift. We had a good trend shift there. That was where I made the most of my week, basically, was with that trade. That's why I like gold when it there's times where like you might be afraid to miss a move, but like moves like this can be just like the start of everything too. We talked about it live on stream. It was breaking out and made that higher high, so it could be like the start of something when you get those breakouts. Those even this move up, creates that continuation. So if FOMC, like maybe I don't always trade, like I didn't send that many signals this week. I didn't even stream that much this week, but every stream I did, I went over a good piece of analysis that played out. If you go watch every single stream I did this week, I did them all live here on YouTube. Everything I talked about this week played out. If you go back and you look, every single time I did analysis on gold, including last night, it all played out, right? And it's kind of just like pacing yourself with what you see on the chart. You can notice, like if I reflect from my week, like, and I look back at everything I said this week, it's just a matter of patience, of letting what you want or letting what you see happen. Like when you draw those arrows, when you draw your analysis, just giving it time to maybe do that. Because I can look back at the week and pretty much everything I drew up, like if you go like everything that I drew up this week on the live streams happened. If you go back, and it didn't happen all in the moments, but it's a matter of like letting the market give the time to do that thing that you go on the chart, you analyze it, you see it, you draw it up, give the market time to let that play out. Usually the market will show you a lot of times that there's time for things to happen. So next week, we got one more week next week. And then it's the holidays, kind of like boring season, I guess, for the market. Maybe like, I don't know, last December. What are we on? December 12th. Where was the market? December 12th. This is where the market was last year. Ooh, it was at a peak after coming from the all-time highs. Look at that. December 12th last year. Market was at this peak here. Let's see here. We broke this peak. We're at a peak here. We're literally like creasing all-time highs. What did the futures price hit today? Like, yeah. Yo, look at that. And then it went down. So from December 12th last year, this thing went down fast to, oh yeah, this thing went down pretty fast. And then created an uptrend. Pretty interesting. Do we come down and then create an uptrend? Or do we hold the trend? It's interesting looking at that. Looks nice for next week. Should be interesting. I mean, you can already see what maybe we're trying to do maybe for next week. But yeah, definitely a good like learning week. I took it real patient this week, so I realized I missed out on some movement, but still like discipline is always there. Doesn't need to be, not every week needs to be as big as the other week, or as big as the last week and the previous week. Like, your job's not necessarily to always duplicate results in terms of profit, like what you made last week exactly, or what you flipped last week exactly, whatever profit or withdraw. Like, it's more just like trading the setups that you see, trying to be disciplined. Following me for 5 years, let's get it. 5 years now. Damn. What's good? Doing at the moment, like, because it's 3:30, market closes soon, you'll probably just like stall around. Next week, however, like, look at this, look how this is looking for next week. Could have come all the way down there. Nah. Next week should be interesting. Like, we already broke out of this like multi-level week resistance here on gold, which was pretty much like around like 42.50. What was that over here? This resistance was like, okay. Oh, we only got like next week. I mean, so like, let me go back to last year real quick. The market, I don't remember it as much. It's been a long trading year, but I remember how volatile it was. I remember how volatile November and some of December was last year. I remember the volatility. Personally, like, I've just been trying to stay consistent and just tone it out this last like 3 weeks, or even like some of November going into December, and there's just been consistency with like the setups. There's months where like there's months where I like to be like more aggressive, and like that's kind of just like a feeling thing too. Yeah, like the market last Christmas, like gold moved up and down a bit, like there was some movement. There's hours where it's going to be closed. But between like December 12th and Christmas, the market did move a lot last year. Between December 12th and Christmas, there was a lot of movement. Bearish. So one way or another, there could be a good amount of movement next week. Maybe they started last year. Literally, December 12th is right here, and the market was like pretty much like around the same like territory in a way. Like it just made an all-time high. It crashed down all around the same time. Like seasonality, if you really look at like the seasonality with gold and how like price moved last year, this year, very similar. Similar is like there was an all-time high here last year. Market dropped, and that was made like at the end of October. If you go look at what the end of October did this year, so market dumped. So yeah, like there can be movement next week. Like look at last year. Last year moved a lot in that week. I'm overall bullish on gold, but like looking at that, what if prices come down lower for like end of December? But firstly, like it'd be seeing what I'm just trading what I like to just trade what I see setups. So it'd like be firstly just this area. Like look at this area we broke out of. We even tried to retest it today. Like we literally came down, took out this candle. We have like a nice demand zone here. Went underneath that. Huge wick being created now. Like a really long wick. I mean, like there could be like recoveries, but it could still try to like trade back into like the wick. It doesn't just have to go straight shot up. It could have like a bounce up and still try to like trade into that wick next week. But like yeah, like it's first looking at like this area next week. Weeks like this are good where the market kind of ends off in a position where you kind of have an idea for next week already. But yeah, like you can see that resistance was lasting for some weeks, multi weeks there. FOMC broke it out. I think if you watch a stream this week, I think if you missed it, this stream that I did was on point this week. If you missed this stream, wasn't as 572 views here. This was a really good stream live in a trade. Like there was an active trade here. Signal. I went over the signal live. That was active. I know. Because I had sent a signal already. I had sent a signal. I showed it here. It was when I sent the signal. I would watch this stream if you missed it. There's a lot to learn on that stream. Market structure, change of character, rejection, like a lot of things combined in there. And if you see how I break down the chart, like everything ended up playing out. Like I broke it down pretty much to like the fullest on that session there. And honestly, like looking back, it was actually perfect when you look at the 4 hour, like where we were actually. Like we were actually in a very perfect spot when I look back at it. Like we had this low. And we were literally right here, like on this candlestick right here. So you looking back at it, it's literally perfect. And I went over this live. It played out perfectly how I broke it down. So I mean, honestly, should have held that longer. But that trade, like because I didn't take many trades this week, did trade a lot this week, sent a couple trades. That one was pretty much like the one that made the week. You won't get much. I know someone asked in the chat like what to expect from the market next couple hours. Like you don't have much time for it to really move. But next week we'll probably be looking at at this already made a long wick, so we'll see. Is it gonna still continue next week? For me, it would have to like hold this area. It did spend a lot of time. Remember that rectangle pattern? We talked about that rectangle pattern a lot too on streams. Crypto was good last November. Yeah, crypto was amazing last November, running up to this point. Crypto, all crypto, yeah, like crypto, not just Bitcoin and maybe even like Ethereum. Yeah, crypto is really good at last November. Now it's looking like right now when we actually look at the market, like silver is flying. Silver just went on a crazy run. Now it's pulling back. Retracement today, New York session. Fridays will often, if like Fridays run up like this crazy, you'll often get like a retracement on a Friday like this. Thursday, Friday reversals. Usually, like if you look at like Thursday, Friday, if the market runs up a lot of times into it, you'll get like a retracement by the time Friday's done. Most times the market's like this, like it can start. Not last Friday, it actually retraced the beginning of the week. This is a good example of like a time where you like how today played out. You'll see a lot of times with gold when it runs up like this, Friday retracements. So I use Bitcoin as like something long term. More like I don't trade it. I'm blessed that I'm gifted with gold, and that gold has been a great market this year. So like we got the benefit of that. Anybody who's like a gold trader, or anybody who likes gold and sticks to gold, like we had a great market this year. Let's hope we get another good market 2026. I think we will. I think we'll have some good like trading seasons, some good trading months. This year was just about adapting and just kind of adapting to the trends, the environment, the volatility at times. Happy I'm not a crypto trader, but happy I'm a gold trader. Gives me the ability to stack more Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin monthly, I think we'll get a pump like towards the end of the month. It'll try to recover a bit more. I mean, we just went through pretty much like a great reset in crypto. I think we just went through a huge, pretty much reset in the market with what happened since like October with all the liquidations and everything. Like 2 million accounts got wiped out. Yeah, like at the best for like Bitcoin, crypto though might be a long time for like a longer time for like crypto in general to recover from some of these things. Like most cryptos are just pretty much either cheap or low, super low, cheap. However you look at it, most are cheap, low. Some might be of like fair value. Like Ethereum's not super cheap, but like a lot of these other coins are like super cheap or super low. Those will take longer to recover. Look at Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin's still of like a fair value. Um, it's been like more of like a fair value price. I wouldn't call it cheap. I wouldn't say it's like super super cheap right now, but it's, you know, it's 90,000 per coin, right? So I think with the market, you gotta right now, like with crypto, the best thing to do is just stick to the top, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana. Just stick to the top. Even Chainlink isn't doing as bad. I said that like weeks ago. That was what my plan was gonna be. If buying anything, just to kind of stick to those top five, those top ones, stack those up. Any good withdrawals, those ones. That's kind of like my plan. But yeah, like Bitcoin is like, I wouldn't say cheap. Um, Still 90,000 per coin now. It's never really cheap, however you kind of look at it. So it's more in like a, because this is high price, more like been entering like a fair value area. Cheap would be like, cheap and low would be like 50K. I mean, right now, like it's all about this monthly structure too. Like this low, if that's gonna stay intact. Yeah, like we're really in like the last like area that there was demand for the market. Like we did react from there. Technical wise, chart looks pretty fucking sexy. Like, like if it could hold this low, like, you know, it'll probably try to come back into the low though. Maybe have a bounce or recovery closer back to like 100K. That's for Bitcoin. Like most other crypto, like Bitcoin's, like most of the cryptos, like even Ethereum 3000 testing now. Not like it's where most of, if you go most cryptos in the top 100, most of these are going to be pretty much at like their bottoms, monthly levels that are just yearly lows. Bitcoin's probably trading at the same price it was trading like a year ago from today. A year ago, maybe, let's see, December 12th. Not that far off, to be honest. If anything, like this territory is like where there's demand. Like this territory is meant for like getting like a recovery, a bounce back up to like 100. There's a lot there that used to be like the previous resistance. Almost like the all-time highs once, like here that you had like the all-time highs that got broke. So you got like a lot of resistance down there where high prices were created. So these were once high prices. So once this was, these prices here were once high prices, right? High prices to the market, and now the market has exceeded those prices. It created resistance a lot there and then broke through those prices. So it's like this entire area that's flipped for maybe what the supply and demand is. Once was a high price, all-time high price. Now it's above it. (2026) will have to stay like above that for the work, like, you know, the worst case scenario. So these were once high prices, and then maybe the market found like cheaper prices or like a more fair value type of price, but then it found extremely cheap. So like if you look at like this, yeah, This low needs to hold. If this low holds, then it could just go down more and then find that like extremely cheap or cheaper price, which would be around like those all-time highs. If you the last time we had like a crossover like this, so see the market right now. See here where I'm like circling, it's pretty much like where Bitcoin is like right now, I think. So we need this low to hold, like some news, some positive news, and that could be a scenario. Like bull case, that could be a scenario if this thing rips and has a strong start of the year. Bear cases, we're getting a signal like this over here. Because if you look, it's pretty similar with like, okay, you have this low here, you have this low here. That area where it's like the same low. And like the moving averages, look at the moving averages, the crossover. The moving averages, these are coming down, these are coming down. Now, it's like top, 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 top. So that low rallies up to the top, comes back into the low. So then it like rallies up to the top, comes back into the low. So like Bitcoin's could be in a fragile state here where it's like it could go down like this. This dropped, you could see. Then created a whole new wave. So that would be like, imagine like that. That would be like bear case. Probably would try to come back and retest all-time highs to find like a cheap, because it's not, I wouldn't call it cheap right now. Maybe like more of a fair value, or but coming below really expensive. That was a different price. That was an entirely different price there, but this, like the same measured move would be like this probably. 50% would be crazy. Go back over here. There was some recovery, but then the trend broke down. So like we're kind of in the same spot with this low, like so we need this low to hold essentially if it's going to continue in an uptrend. If not, like there's signals that the trend could be broken. Do something like this. Caught 1% on gold yesterday, nice. So yeah, one of those weeks where like FOMC, you want to remember these FOMC weeks, how you trade. To me, I usually don't trade aggressively on FOMC week. I don't like being like all over the market, because usually like a lot of people are asking me, what do you think about FOMC? What do you think about FOMC? So I don't always like try to make predictions. I like focusing on trade setups, just like more identifying the setup, having a strategy, right? So for me, it's simple. Like one step is like, step one is like identifying just a clear trend, like a clear trend, market structure. With gold, it could be like those breakouts that it does. So gold will often break out, have like impulsive movements, like breakouts. When gold breaks out, or when it's like really impulsive, where there's like demand in the market, when there's a lot of demand, strong demand. Gold can have those like strong demand phases with it, where you could maybe find a market structure on a 5-minute chart really clearly at the right time, or a 15-minute chart, a 30-minute chart. So with gold, like So like for me, it's just looking for a setup, and this is one of the easiest ways to start by looking for a setup. You can look for a break and retest in the trend. Now, you wanna have your levels marked on your chart. So you wanna have like every $25 marked on your chart. All right. So it's really key to have those $25 levels marked. I already have them marked right ahead of time, because you may be able to spot like different trends on different time frames in and out of these levels. So having every $25 on your chart marked is key. All right. So I think I just marked every $50. I'm not done, but every $25 is going to be very, very helpful with gold through the weeks. It's also going to help you be more patient. If you're just trading off of every $5 and $10, you might be finding yourself in more trades. So we don't have to do the entire chart, but I'm going to stop at like a certain point. I'm not going to do like the whole entire chart. I might just go to like 4,100 down here. Yeah, 4,100. So there you go. Really simple. Keep these levels marked on your chart. All right. Study them, practice them. You can find trades in and out of them, even on like smaller time frames of reactions. Like you could see right here, for example, these types of this right here is what I'm talking about, and it might not look like perfect right now. It might be like, damn, that's high up, but it's like these types of inner breaks above retest the price. They happen a lot when gold is flowing with when it has a day where it's like today or yesterday. You'll get a lot of these types of setups around these levels. I catch them pretty much every week. I sent them like last week's. I've been sending signals like that. You can catch like quick little. I call them like quick little break and retests. I didn't look at the I wasn't crazy on the market the beginning of the week, like FOMC. I wasn't pushing, trying to trade too much in the beginning of the week, and I even said that like coming into this week that was my plan. But gold will usually like respect these levels, like support and resistance, usually at these types of prices. So you can see like the beginning of the week, 41.75 had a strong impulsive reaction. From there, let's look at the 5-minute from there. Did it make like any evidence here? So we're looking at 41.75. We're looking at a 5-minute right now. So if you're looking at a 5-minute, there's two things you could look at here. It's one, this rejection candlestick. That could be an entry signal right there. Another entry signal could have came like, if you understand market structure, like with this shift up. So where could maybe another entry signal be on this pullback? Close to, it's like really close to where price reacted, so it's like trading like support. It's around that whole number, maybe around here, or that might be more advanced, right? We have to look at the 15 and the 30-minute time frame as well. Another signal that maybe could have came, if your eyes could spot this, is like right here. Now we're gonna look at different time frames too and see what the 15-minute candle looks like. These types of setups, you could get like a reversal that's starting at the price, and there could be like a trend created afterwards. So this is like break and retest right here. Gold does these a lot. The reason I'm teaching this stuff is because if you study gold, it does this stuff a lot. Then it goes up, and it comes to 4,200. So I see, like, I can look at this week and know where I would have taken trades. I didn't take a trade here, but I know I would have taken a buy here at 4,200. It's these types of setups I'm talking about that break above the price when there's like a strong momentum pull back to it. I probably would have been looking for buys here. And now 4,200. My stop loss probably would have been 4,190. So I might have got stopped out if I had just a 4,190 stop loss there. You can still see how 4,200 ended up holding. Wasn't perfect in the beginning of the week, that price. So I think like that was like a lot of FOMC chop. I avoided a lot of the beginning of the week. Let's go back to this 41.75. Let's look at the 15 minute. 15 minute, where was that? Maybe if you're watching the 15 minute like rejection candlestick, enough to say, oh, possibly an entry. 30 minute, let's check out the 30 minute. 30 minute, there is rejection there. If I was on the chart here, like I said, probably, but I wasn't. I didn't trade most of the beginning of the week. Wouldn't have been a bad trade to look for. FOMC kind of got in the way. The market was more fluent, I think, after FOMC. To me, at least. So this week, like, not like I caught a trade at 4,200, literally, like, I think it was Sunday night. Yeah, so the first trade I took this week was literally here. And that's kind of what gave me like the discipline to like not have to trade FOMC or push into FOMC. I said last week, and I've said on streams, like if you catch a trade, let's say you catch a trade early on in the week before FOMC, kind of like literally what I did this week, like the first trade I caught this week, and it hit our take profit too. It was at 4,200. This one, gold buy 4,200. That was right here. Literally, I called it out here. Or wait, no, here. I called it out right here. It gave us a good move. It hit like, almost hit our last take profit. Almost. It was a solid trade to be in. If you could like catch a trade like early on, like yeah, like let's say like early on. Wait, that wasn't even it. Where is it? Wait. Yeah, there it is. This one. Yeah. Oh yeah, there, yeah, that's it. Look at the price, 4,200. So I was able to. I was on the market early this week actually. I just realized that. Caught that trade. After that, chilled out. I missed this trade. There was 41.75, so like 4,200, and then the market comes down to 41.75. After that, a lot of chop, like pre-FOMC chop, like thinking like buys off of 4,200 was the right way to think, but the market was finding buys below it. Like, I would have definitely taken a buy here. I probably might have got stopped out, re-entry, or sometimes I hold my drawdowns if I really like the setup, but there was like a move down and then it made the move. So I recommend like a week like FOMC week, if you could catch a trade like, or like I caught a trade early like Sunday night before Monday. You can catch some early profit beginning of the week. Just wait till like after FOMC. You don't always have to predict it. I didn't predict FOMC and had a great week still. almost came back. You'll get a lot of these. These are the types of setups I'm talking about that are like when there's it could be that last push too. To be honest, like that's like breaking the price. If we go back, there's another one almost right here. So 42.50. I'm on the 5-minute right now. See how there's like strong momentum pushing up, a lot of demand. Breaks the price, pulls back to it, 42.50 level. Almost hits it. And then see what it does at 75 here. You'll see this happen a lot when there's like a strong trend or like strong pushes. Almost happens here. Kind of does if you look at it. If you were to look at it on a 1-minute, you would see it here. Yeah, a lot like see even this like this breaks out and it pulls back to the price. If you look over here, here's another example right there. Right? It's like a break and retest with the price. It doesn't always have to be like a high there. It's like you use the price a lot of times if there's like strong momentum in the market. If there's like a strong trend or the market's really moving, because gold can do that. Gold can have those just phases where it's just moving for hours. And it's just going. So like there could be mini breaks and retests in those types of pushes when it's doing that. Prices can line up at times. I find this year it's done that a lot and just did that this week a couple times. Like once it starts really breaking out, the pullbacks can stick on the 5-minute. It's not, you're not really gonna find an entry looking at the 1 hour when it's moving with those strong momentum phases, like where it's just going for hours. The 5-minute's gonna be the time frame really where you're gonna be able to like see an entry actually. A 1 hour candles will be just going up. So it's like those, like gold's done that a lot this year. If you study these pushes up, and that's a lot of the movement it did this week, like there and there, you got to break those down in a 5-minute, 15-minute even, because gold will have those times where it's just pushing, like going like here. You have another one where it's really going up here, pushing. So it has those times where it's just going, or through the days, times where it's just hours, even just like pushes, like even something like this, I could understand probably on a 5-minute. There's something inside of there, maybe a mini trend. Sometimes even waiting for those times to come, because inside of there, you could find like maybe 1 or 2 setups even that go with that trend. Like here, it doesn't even have to be at the exact, like just using technical analysis, price action. Like here, it really broke up, just kept going all the way up until there. So it's like how to catch a trade inside of there. It's you have to be like it's scalping style, but it can get you a good potential day trading entry or even swing trading entry at times. Like the entry style, because the time minute is like the 5-minute, but like if you look at gold structure, it's pretty clean on the 5-minute. Once the direction kicks in, like once buyers are in control, most of the pullbacks on the 5-minute you'll spot at a lot of times where it's moving like this just kind of get eaten up. So you could be able to catch on to like some of those pullbacks, right? And now the higher and higher it goes, it eventually gets to that point where it does just kind of does fall over and reverse. But like gold, the 5-minute pullbacks, when it's moving like that, like some of the times you might have even seen this week, the market will stick to them when those buyers are in control. I see it all the time. Like eventually you get to a point where it's something you can't like unsee. Eventually you get to a point like that where it's like, okay, you can't unsee it. That's how it becomes eventually. I'd say the 5 minute pull, like, it will have times where it's just constantly moving. So it's really like about those pullbacks on the 5 minute, maybe trying to line them up with a structure, the right price. Like there's a couple things you could try lining them up with those pullbacks. It could be like, I mean, here you could see there's like a good resistance and stuff. When this big push up, price comes up here where I'm circling, and then you have that pullback. So be trying to line it up with like a previous resistance or something like this up here. Like see right here, this is like perfect. What I mean, lining it up with a structure, right? Or price, trying to line it up with price. It's not like there's going to be 100 examples in one, but like gold will do this. Like if you look, it was running up yesterday, and it's like not really much you could do unless you're like seeing something like on a 5 minute here. Okay, we're breaking above this like resistance. At that point, it's maybe trying to find one pullback entry after that. And like there might, like you could kind of see one here, for example. Usually there'll be more up to this point, but like gold broke out yesterday, breaks this resistance, kind of pulls back to it. If you want to get crazy, you could even look at the 1 minute pullbacks, but that would be like that's I'm not gonna train that right now. You can see the last biggest pullback here goes to like a solid price. It's 32.25 here. We break above 3,300, and there was literally no pullback until here. 3,300 got hit right here, and you can see there's some like resistance on there right now. Look where we went to. We went to 75, and we reversed around there a bit. But yeah, once this tap 3350 broke down, that's like your reversal signal, like right there. Bam, first pullback continuation, breaks under the lows. But no, trust me, gold will have days like that in the week. Every week it'll have days like that where it's moving, and I think like it's just going up for hours, and you're looking at it, and you look at the price, and it's moved hundreds of pips. Trust me, I've seen that plenty of times with gold, from my days of trading. So that might seem crazy, getting used to that. But no, I'll tell you, like that's normal for gold. So if you guys got any questions, type in the chat. I'm not going to be on too much longer today. Just want to do a little update, talk about some training, some stuff, the week. How did everybody's week go? Let me know how you guys' week went. Did you have a good week? Did you have a bad week? Did you have an all right week? How did the week go for everybody here in the chat? There we go. Oh yeah, that's a better view right there. There you go. I took a trade. Like literally, this is why sometimes less is more. Like with strategy. So this is why we talk about less is more. I took a trade here, December 12th, and again sent this trade as a signal before the market even hit entry. What was the next trade? 4205, 4200 area. That one hit take profit 2. So that was. Maybe that was over here. Oh, where was that? Would have been up here. So for me, it's like a less this could be looked at more weak. There could have been, I could have had more trades. Like, I just wanted to take it slow this week because it was FOMC. 12 in the morning, so that would have literally been right here. Wow. So this trade ended up hitting like take profit 2. Wasn't the craziest one. This one was just like a light trade. Where is the target? Yeah. That had take profit 2. It reacted nice. Like the entry reacted nice. I remember this. We were up like 90 pips. But this one didn't get there. More like it hit take profit 2. Yeah, this one hit take profit 2. Almost hit take profit 3. It was just away from take profit 3. So literally, like when I say like a less is more week, like I literally mean it. Like this was literally a less is more week. The next trade was here. 42.11. So literally less is more weak. The first trade was good. Second trade was all right. I mean, they were all profitable outcomes. So like, what you got to do is in trading, it's about measuring your progress too. Like, it's not about how often you do things, but when you do them, are you good at putting yourself in profitable situations? It's not about how often you do or how many times you do something. Because if you could look at the drawing board and say, I usually put myself in profitable situations. Doesn't matter how many times I do something, more or less, right? It's not about how many trades you take in a day, how many trades you take in a week. It's about looking at your progress along the way, like measuring your progress as a result of like how probable are you? Are you good at putting your are you a high probability trader? Are you good at putting yourself in profitable outcomes? It's not about is your trading capabilities, because if these are the 3 trades I took this week, for example, right? One here, right? It went into profit, and then one here, right? This one had I had multiple entries on this one. It was like between here, that area. So whether you do something once a week, twice a week, 5 times a week, like because this is how you overcome losing too, right? If you know you're good at putting yourself in profitable situations, if you know on average you're good at putting yourself in a profitable situation, right? Like trade number 2, for example, it didn't deliver the biggest move. It made like at the most, we were up like 90 pips on this trade, depending on your entry. Like we had a zone. It came into our entry zone like here. So it was up like 90 to a bit over 100 pips. But like a trade like that, like win, lose, break even. For me, whether I lose a trade or even like break even on a trade or don't hit my full take profit, I'm usually good at still putting myself in a situation, and others, because again, these are signals I'm going over here, and others in a profitable scenario, right? So you got to kind of like look at your trading history. You got to measure, you got to journal your trades. You got to look at your trades one by one and not look at so much the profit, like look at the moves you're catching, look at how often you're doing something. Are you usually putting yourself in profitable outcomes, profitable situations? You don't have to look at the money so much, because then that's when the confidence can kind of increase, if you can realize that, or if you can get good at that. Because there's a whole market here, right? Those are 3 trades I sent this year and this week, right? And like they could have been, this could have been like the holy grail one, realistically. Right, there could have been some more. Like I could have sent one more, like here, last night. Right, for like one more, maybe like up here, maybe here. Could have been like one more up there. Maybe the sell, Friday sell. Could have been like one more maybe, but like you don't have to measure your week with how much time you're involved. Like your involvement can be still spread out in the week, and you can still put yourself in profitable scenarios. All right, focus on just like the like. I don't really overthink RR. To be honest, like with my trades, because exactly what I just said. I usually I don't focus on risk to reward because like I don't try to get like a huge risk to reward because I usually put myself in profitable trades, in profitable scenarios or outcomes or trends. I focus on the execution of the trade the most, executing, positioning myself in a place where I know is like a good entry, right? That I know I'm entering in a good place, whether that's buy low, sell high, right? So I'm not really thinking of risk to reward. I think that comes maybe last for me, where I might just shape up it and look at okay, what's maybe what I could make to risk. Because like and when it comes down to stop loss too, stop loss for me like this trade for example, 4,200 here. This trade I took, my stop loss was at the low. So I don't think of the outcome first. I don't think of risk to reward. I don't think of the outcome so much in the what like I think about what I'm risking, and I kind of think about what I'm trying to make in a sense of like the lot size I'm putting on and maybe the move I could catch. But I don't think about the outcome as much. I'm more about the execution of the entry is important to me, where I'm entering, because usually I enter in a good spot to put my stop loss in a relevant place that's like decent for me in terms of pips. Like it's not too much pips a lot of times for me. Like it might be $10, $9, $8, $12, $15 at the most, like depending on the zone, the area. And usually with gold, that'll still like get me like almost a 2 to 1 or above that. Like I'm not really worried about risk to reward because I'm putting money on the trade. I'm confident in where I'm entering. I know I'm likely to make money the majority of my trades. So risk to reward, I'm more about catching a move. I want to catch a move. I want to catch pips because the pips add up. I'm trying to catch pips, catch the move, find that lot size that I'm comfortable with too. It's like this trade, like I think the stop loss was like at 41.90. So like it's not like the prettiest risk to reward, but I'm good at putting myself in profitable situations, right? Where if I hold a trade, if I get a good trade and I hold it, it could go and make me good money. Like this trade, for example, if I held this, I got out of this like when it was up here. I slept in a bit and I woke up and then I closed. Those are always the best days. Like I'm good at putting myself like for the amount of times I do something. So for instance, this week I had this trade. Okay, maybe I wanted it to go higher, but it didn't. This one too, but the third one, bam, that was the banger. Even that third trade was like a very profitable trade I put myself into, right? So the amount of times you do something, like think about it. I've had over 10 years of experience. The amount of times you do something is that repetition, right? Repetition. Practicing putting yourself in profitable situations every week, like analyzing that. I got good at doing that. Like obviously I'm good at doing that. I'm skilled, right? Some talent, skill in there involved. Mentality too, like it's you talent. Everybody has talent. Then you need that mentality as well, especially in trading. Because when you go on a losing streak, your confidence isn't there, or something like that, or you get frustration from the markets. You end up in the same hole, the same loop, right? chasing the same results and they're not coming, you might get frustrated, right? That's when mentality comes in to play, right? Mentality. So week by week, like you could take 1, 2, 3 trades a week. It doesn't matter how many trades you take. 10 trades. The more trades you take, though, like think about it. If you take 3 trades and then you take 10 trades in a week, the scale is gonna, the scale of okay, how many wins and losses you take now is gonna weigh one way and the other more. You might take a couple more losses. Mostly ride the trade. I mean, just by I think journaling my trades over the years of just looking at the trade history and just, I mean, the amount of times you're in a trade and you take a trade and you close it and you look at the market 2 hours later and you're like, damn, I should have held that trade. Damn, I should have held that trade. So it's I think the repetition of being in certain situations and scenarios where it's years and years and years of taking trades, and the amount of times it's man, I should have held that trade longer. Man, I should have held that trade longer. So observing that with myself, becoming self-aware, self-observant, with that, being able to look at X amount of trades over time, and being why am I not holding my trades longer? I should be holding my trades longer. I should hold the trades longer, because what happens when you don't hold the trade longer? You look for another trade, right? So what happens when you get out of a winning trade? You're probably going to want to look for another trade, right? And you don't have that same position, right? So the amount of times getting into a situation where it would be I would close a trade and then take another trade and I would lose, that type of frustration. So it's a bit of being self-observant frustration within not holding my trades long enough, and then what that would lead to, because even that would lead to revenge trading or trying to chase the trend more. You close your trade and then you end up adding higher entries, right? You close your trade, next thing you know, you have higher entries in the market and it's not as good of entries, and maybe you end up losing the trade from there or spiraling. So I've been in those types of scenarios more times than I can count. So it's kind of being self-observant there, in frustration of fuck man, hold my trade long, just hold my trade longer. The amount of times maybe I was in a winning position, closed the position, that's where it could come from. And not looking too, when I have I trust my trades. I'm at the point I got a lot, these last few months especially, I got a lot of experience, especially this year got a crazy amount of experience built this year. So I trust my strategy, trust my trades to hold from everything I just said too. I trust my entries, where I'm positioning myself to hold my trades for that. Because either okay, there's that trade, it's if I see a trade now, that trade exists now, right? This entry's only going to be here now. I won't get that entry back. So I'm going to trust what I see for what's there now, for what is there now, right? If it comes back to my entry, maybe I can debate re-entering and seeing if it's worth re-entering. I think it's like one trade at a time. Like, and I mean, maybe not everybody has that problem, but that was someone asked that question in the chat. I don't know. Let me see if there's. I quoted the old you. You made 8K off of 5. Oh snap! Yo, I gotta add more people to the scanner. Yo, if you guys don't have access to the scanner, if you guys don't have access to the scanner, did anyone comment? If you guys don't have access to the scanner, comment on this, your trading view. If you guys don't have access to the scanner, this gold watch tool post, it's under understanding gold. Once you have access, it's simple, guys. You got to go to the indicators section. You got to go to invite only. It's going to be on invite only. But yo, if there's any questions, I think only one person asked some questions. We got some people on. Don't be afraid to ask questions. We're gonna wrap it up here soon in a minute. I quoted the old you. What did I say? I don't know what I said. I said a lot of things there. I kind of went on a little ramble there. Oh, look at that 4 hour. Yeah, it looks like the day's finishing with a little recovery. Yo, gold came all the way down to 42.58, almost 42.50. Damn. I swear I had, bro, I swear I had like, I was going to enter there and I had buy limits, but took them off. I was looking for this last night, but I did say it could hit 42.60. Crazy. I saw it, like, I wanted it to pull back to 42.60, 42.45 area, you know? Did it technically kind of do that? Because it hit 42.58. 42. I wanted it to pull back to 42.60. 42, like 45, like basically like 42.50. But like here, this area. That's what I wanted last night. And market just kept going. And gold will always do this kind of shit. I'm telling you. This is what I want. I wrote this last night. Did a little write up last night. 2026 gonna do more of those. Like last year, I was doing a lot of those. So in 2026, I'm gonna do way more of those, like I was. It's been slow and steady pacing with the signals, yo. The gold signal's been on point though. These last months, I'm telling you, there's been some fire trades. Like. Someone asked a good question about like holding trades on. There's trades that I could scroll back to like a week ago, 2 weeks ago that we probably could have held, or maybe even last month that we probably could have held. Like we were looking for buys back when gold was like, if we go back and look at where we were buying in September, we were buying gold like 4,000. But back in September, we were buying gold like 3,500, 3,700, 3,800. There's plenty of trades that I could go back to and be like, man, if I held, would have been crazy. That's always going to happen. No trade's going to be perfect. One moment here. Give me a minute. Yeah, no trade's gonna be forever perfect, but like I could go back to trades that a month ago or whatever. Like we could scroll to months ago or weeks ago and find entries that probably could have just held and whatever. Like we were buying gold at $4,025. We had literally a trade at $4,025. There was a gold trade here we had like gold trades back here. We had gold trades back here that we could have held. Like when you're day trading, when you're weekly trading, you're trading weekly. You're day trading, you're trading weekly. You know, like it's hard to. You can't look back. I could look back at. I could have held this trade up to this point, right? Any trade, when you're day trading and weekly trading, like as frequent as that, you're trading every week. That's frequent, right? Every week trading, that's very frequent, right? Like any trade could be like a break even trade. We had buys here, we had like buys here, we had buys like we had buys down here, I remember. No trade's gonna be perfect, but again, goes back to putting yourself and focusing, I think, on execution, like making execution a good priority. Patient with your entries, patient for your setups, good setups that you know have like a high probability to them that could put you in, again, those profitable outcomes that give you the confidence to hold your trades more, because you know, win or lose, break even, you know you're good at getting yourself in those profitable outcomes. At what age will I stop trading? Maybe, I don't know, maybe when I'm like 50. I don't know, probably never. That's what happens. You hold you because that winning position. That's those sometimes are so. There's different types of patience. There's patience to entering a trade, like waiting for the trade, waiting for the setup, entering it. You know, waiting for an actual setup, waiting for the market to give you some evidence, something to trigger like a good setup. There's that type of patience, but then there's patience of holding a trade too, a winning trade. But yeah, like that's usually where you might mess up. That's where I messed up a lot of times in my trading, is when I would exit a trade and quickly re-enter one. Maybe the best thing you can do, whether it's a winning trade or a losing trade, is you lose a trade, get off the charts for 30 minutes or an hour. Don't re-enter, don't force the trade right after. I'm 29 right now, so I got time. I'm 29 years old, so I got some time. I got time. $1 million day on gold. We got time. $1 million day XAU. We got time. So yeah, like because if you have that trade, that winning position, you exit it, all that time went by for the setup to, for the trade setup to form, for you to wait for the trade, for you to hold the trade, and then you exited it. So you can't just quickly re-enter all that time again, like it's like the setup is gone. That's where things get riskier. So that's where I've ruined a lot of profits for myself. That's where I've ruined a lot of profit by quickly re-entering something after I close a trade, or after whether it's a winning trade or losing trade even, but most of the time like a winning trade where you're in profit already and then you re-enter higher, chasing the price. Damn, yeah, I pretty much did come back to here. But yeah, we're probably going to wrap it up here in a bit. I'm going to be on Inner Circle session tomorrow, do some training on strategy, mindset tomorrow. Inner Circle session will be live. I'm going to wrap this up. Just want to do a quick little update here, talk about some things. Don't see any questions in the chat anymore. Let me see if I hold trade. That's real struggle. Yeah, like you could, if you're struggling with holding your trades, just have a phase like for 30 days or 60 days. Just okay, I'm just gonna hold every trade break even, or maybe make 2 accounts and take the same trade on both accounts. One of them day trade, one of them swing trade. Let's say if you're gonna put $1,000 in an account, maybe put 500 in one, 500 in another, or something like that, or $500 in an account, 250 in one, 250 in another. Maybe, okay, take the same trade on different accounts, make one swing, where it's like, okay, every trade I'm putting break even, or maybe adjusting my stop loss smaller if it goes into profit. That could be a way. That could be an alternative. Yeah, I'm not gonna stop trading. I got a long time. What do you mean? I gotta make money, yo. Shit, yo. You know? Shit, you know? I make money, you know, you ain't 2026 around the corner. Yeah, I'm not gonna stop trading. Yeah, you could do that. You know, you take the same trade, so that way it eliminates the emotional holding there. It'll eliminate some emotions that way, because you know, okay, I already secured profit. Worst case scenario, it comes back to entry. Wait for the next setup. But maybe practice a phase of just break even every trade. Every trade that you have going, maybe a profit or a point where it's like you usually close your trades, hold them longer from that point, and just because if you don't do it for enough trades, if you do it for 1-2 trades, then it's, you know, those 1-2 trades are going to be the one that hit you break even. But if you do it for 10 trades in a row, you'll maybe you'll realize the difference, or maybe that might make a difference, or maybe that makes that trading week different, or it's like a big day, or it's a right trade. So yeah, the thing with gold, like that's why we're gold. The amount of trades I've just to like get last night, like I was in a buy on it, and I was like, fuck, man. Like I was in buys here, scattered around, and this thing ripped up, closed, and then what did I do? I re-entered a bit and then closed again, and I was like, I'm done. And it just kept going, and I was like, damn, yo, this could have been like this could have been like a huge day if I just held the first trades, you know. So that it's gonna happen. Kind of just have to get yourself at that point of, okay, go break even. Don't look at the chart. You know, if it's in profit substantially, go break even. Come back an hour later, see where price is at. Because if you're constantly looking at the trade, that's way more emotional. That's why I don't always like doing live trading when we're in signals, when we have like signals active, because it's like then we're just constantly looking at it. That adds more emotion. I'm not always constantly looking at a trade when I'm in it. But y'all, we're out. I'll see everybody tomorrow. If you're in the inner circle, tap in tomorrow. There's no calendar right now, but I'm going to have a schedule coming soon for January. I'm gonna start kicking back into routine. Getting back into a routine. Yeah, I'm about to get back into a routine, like a scheduled routine. I've just been kind of free balling it. Free ball. Y'all make sure you guys tune in next week. And if you're in the inner circle, tune in tomorrow. I'll see everybody on next stream. Tap in next week. Last trading week pretty much until the holidays. I try to go for full TP, you know? I try to go for full TP. I usually close my trades like TP3, TP4. Like around there, usually 3, 4. Like, because if you look at my screenshots, you'll see I'll have multiple entries. So if I'm up a certain amount of money, it's like, all right, I'm gonna take this and leave this amount of floating. So like if you look, like I'll have like a good amount of entries. So it's like I'll scatter some entries in zones. If you see these screenshots, for example, like here's a good one. You can see these entries. So it's like if I'm up 2,000, I'll take $1,500. And I'll leave 500 floating or something like that. If I'm up 700, I'll take 500. At a certain point, like if the trade really moves, like, but I'll still leave some runners, some entries. I'll still be in the same trade, so. Yeah, holding is a struggle, but most traders hold their losing trades longer than their winning trades. So that's one thing. Like a lot of us, like I remember hearing that quote like years ago, and it hit me. I was like, damn. Most traders hold their losing trades longer than their winning trades, or like you might hold a trade in drawdown. Like that could be like losing trade, Doesn't mean like losing. It could be drawdown. Like you're holding your trade in drawdown longer than you hold the trade in profit. It's like you held the trade for 3 hours. If it finally pumps up a little bit in profit, and you close it right away, right when it gets into profit or something. You know, it's like you'll hold. Most traders will hold like drawdown or red when the trade's negative, and then it goes into profit. Close it right away. But yo, we out. Tune in next week. I'll see everybody next week. Peace, peace, peace.